Hello friends, welcome back again, and we are still with resources. Towards the end of the last class we said about conventional sources of energy. Conventional means what is most commonly used at home, like firewood, coal or oil products and so on. These are very common. Everybody is using petroleum products. The firewood, coal and so on. That is very common. They are called conventional sources of energy. There are some other sources are they non-conventional, like solar, like wind energy. All these are non-conventional. So we said about the advantages and disadvantages of these two types of energies: conventional source of energy and non-conventional sources of energy. Now let us see in detail about conventional sources of energy. So the conventional sources of energy are those which have been in common use for a long time. So what is, you can underline what is conventional sources of energy. So those which have been in common use for a long time, for the people who have been using it for a common purpose to use at home and so on, that is called conventional sources of energy. So firewood and fossil fuels are the two main conventional energy sources. You can underline what are the two main conventional sources of energy. One is firewood, another one is fuel oil, the fossil fuels, that is the petroleum products. So let's see the first one, firewood. So let's learn about firewood. It is widely used for cooking and heating. In our country, more than 50% of the energy used by villagers comes from firewood. So firewood is the most common conventional source of energy in our country. It is used for cooking as well as for heating. When it is winter, people sit near the firewood, they burn firewood, and it is 50% of the energy is coming from the firewood. So in our country, 50% or more than 50% of energy used by the villagers is coming from firewood. That's why we call it most common conventional source of energy. Then remains of plants and animals which were buried under the earth for millions of years got converted by the heat and pressure into fossil fuels. So now we say the second most important conventional source of energy is fossil fuels, that is the petroleum products. So do you think how do we get these petroleum products from under the earth? We mine out and we get it. How it is formed there? That is formed by remains of plants. The plants, when it is dying or when it is falling to the earth, there may be a landslide, so mud will fall on top of the tree and the tree will be remaining under the earth. So the plants, the same way, so many animals die when there is landslide or when there is an earthquake and so on. So they all go under the earth, and which were buried under the earth for millions of years. So the trees and the animals that were buried under the earth millions of years ago, not 100 or 1000 but millions of years ago, and they get converted by the heat and pressure. So they remain under the earth, and you know the temperature under the earth is cool or hot? It is hot. Under the earth it is hot. So these animals and plants that remain under the earth, and because of the heat of the earth, they are converted into fossil fuels. That is how we get petroleum products from under the earth. So they are not remaining under the earth for few years but for millions of years, and during these millions of years, due to the heat of the earth, they get converted into fossil fuels. So that is how fossil fuel is formed. So fossil fuels such as coal, petroleum and natural gas are the main sources of conventional energy. So you can underline what are the most important or main sources of conventional energy from the fossil fuel, that is coal, petroleum, natural gas. These are the main fossil fuels. The reserves of these minerals are limited. So as I said in the last class, the millions of years are taken to form these fossil fuels under the earth. So the conservation or the reservation or the stock is very less. So what we need is, we need to be careful in using them. The rate at which the growing world population is consuming them is far greater than the rate of their formation. So we are using more and we are getting less. We said in the beginning of this lesson how the mother was thinking. Those who are living in the town, they are using more power, but the source is limited. The use is more, but the incoming source is less. And so these are likely to be exhausted soon. So since the source is less and the consumption is more, the use is more, what happens? Suppose we are producing every day, let's say 2 kg of vegetable in our garden. Every day we use 2 kg of vegetable in our garden. But we use every day 2.5 kg of vegetable. Will it be possible? What is coming is only 2 kg, but what we are using is 2.5 kg. Will it be possible? No. Or if you harvest and keep 10 bags of rice, after the harvest we have 10 bags of rice. That is for the whole year. Till the next harvest is over, we have to use this. So 10 bags are there and we have to go for 12 months. So if you use one day one sack each or 1 month one sack each, it will be sufficient only for 10 months. After 10 months, 10 bags is over. Then for 2 months we will have no rice to eat. So that is the situation that world is facing. The deposit of this fuel is limited, but we are going on using more than what is available. So at this stage if we go, it will not last for long. It will get over soon. So we will be in danger. Our life will be risky and we will not be able to go at the same level, the development. Once these minerals are over, no development is possible. We will stop all kinds of development and we will be living a very ordinary life without any modern equipments. So that is a dangerous situation that we are in. Now let's see another type of conventional source of power, that is coal. So this is the most abundantly found fossil fuel, you can underline, which is the fossil fuel found abundant, which is found in abundance. It is used as a domestic fuel in industries such as iron and steel, steam engines, and to generate electricity. So this coal has got many purposes. It is used domestic purpose to cook food at home. We can use it. And we can also use in the industries, especially in the iron and steel industry, where this different iron forms are made. So they need to melt the iron and change into different forms. Sometimes we make iron long rods, isn't it, for building houses and so. So that is formed by melting the iron and forming into different shapes. So they need plenty of power to melt this iron. So coal is used for the iron and steel industry. And also it is used for the steam engine, the engines that are running with steam. So sometime before there were trains, before the availability of electricity and so, most of the trains were running with steam engine. So this coal was used for running this engine, producing power and running the engine. So coal will be burned and with that power the engine will be running. That is called steam engine. Then it is also nowadays used for producing electricity. We can burn this coal and that energy can be converted into electricity. So coal has got many purposes. We can use for domestic purpose to cook food and so on. then we can use for the factory, especially iron and steel factory. Then it is also used in the steam engine, and it is also used for producing or converting into electricity. And electricity from coal is called thermal power. We can underline what is thermal power. So we said we can convert the power from the coal, the energy from the coal into electricity. So when we convert the coal power into electricity, it is called thermal power. Thermal means hot. So we burn this coal, and from that heat we convert into electricity. So that is called thermal power. So how do we get thermal power? We convert the energy of the coal into electricity. So that electricity which is generated from the coal is called thermal power. The coal which we are using today was formed millions of years ago when giant ferns and swamps got buried under the layers of the earth. So in the previous paragraph he said millions of years ago trees and the animals fell under the earth, and due to the heat of the earth they got converted into fuel. In the same way, the coal also is formed in that same way. Millions of years ago, the trees and the animals that fell buried under the earth, they turned into coal. Therefore, coal is therefore referred to as buried sunshine. So, since this coal is buried under the earth millions of years ago, we can call it as a buried sunshine. Why do we call it buried sunshine? Because coal is a sunshine for many. Coal is used by many people. People are dependent on this coal. Therefore, it is a sunshine for the people or blessing for the people. At the same time, it is buried under the earth. We have to dig it out. So, in that way, it is called as a buried sunshine. We can underline. Why is coal called a buried sunshine? What is the reason? The coal which we use today was formed millions of years ago when giant ferns means trees, when giant trees and swarms means the small plants that are growing in the wet region, all that got buried under the layers of the earth. So they were buried under the earth, and later after millions of years that turned into coal. Because of that, it is known as buried sunshine. Now, the leading coal producers of the world are China, USA, Germany, Russia, South Africa and France. So, which are the countries that are producing more coal? They are China, USA, Germany, Russia, South Africa and France. The coal producing areas of India are Raniganj, Jharia, Dhanbad and Bokaro in Jharkhand. So, Jharkhand is the state most of the coal mines are located, and in Jharkhand we have many coal mines are there. What are the names of places? Raniganj, Jharia, Dhanbad and Bokaro. These are the places in the state Jharkhand where these coal mines are existing. People extract mines from the coal from there. Then another one is petroleum. Another conventional source of energy is petroleum. And the petrol that keeps your car running, as well as the oil that keeps your cycle from squeaking, both began as a thick black liquid called petroleum. So, the cars and other vehicles are running with petrol or diesel, and the cycle, those who have got cycle, after some time it starts making a squeaking noise, some kind of rough noise. So what will you do then? You put some oil in the chain, then that sound will go away. So all these are coming from petroleum products, and the present form of oil that we use, petrol or diesel or kerosene or whatever it is all in clean form. And before it is that all these are put together, they are called together petroleum products, and that is black in color. So that needs to be purified and separated. Petrol separate, diesel separate, kerosene separate, everything is together and it is separated depending on the quality. And it is found between the layers of rocks and is drilled from oil fields located in offshore and coastal areas. So these oil products are found deep under the earth, and we need to do the drilling. Earlier we learned different types of mining. So oil is taken out by drilling, and we have to go deep down into the earth. And it is found in the offshore and also in the coastal area. So it is in the shore also, offshore also, in the sea, under the sea also, or in the coastal area also. In different places we will find the oil deposits. And this is then sent to refineries which process the crude oil and produce a variety of products like diesel, petrol, kerosene, wax, plastics and lubricants. So this oil that is mined out from under the earth, that is called crude oil, black in color, and then it is sent to the refineries, factories for purifying, and they will separate it into different quality grades, and that is how we get the oil at present stage. So what are the products coming from this crude oil? Diesel, petrol, kerosene, wax and plastics and lubricants. All these things are separated from this crude oil. And petroleum and its derivatives are called black gold, as they are very valuable. You can underline. They are called black gold. Before we said about buried sunshine, about gold. Now about petroleum products we call it black sunshine. They are black in color before purifying. Then it is called gold because it is so costly and it is so essential. Just like people like to wear gold ornaments, without this we cannot survive. It has become very important in the parts in the life of the people. Therefore we call it black gold because it is black. Before purifying the color is black, therefore we call it black gold. The chief petroleum producing countries are Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia and Qatar. So these are the countries, especially in the Gulf area. They are the one producing oil so much. That area is very rich in oil. And the other major producers are USA, Russia, Venezuela and Algeria. So other countries like USA, Russia, Venezuela and Algeria, they are also very rich in oil, but not as rich as the Arab countries. The leading producers in India are Digboi in Assam, Bombay High in Mumbai and the deltas of Krishna and Godavari rivers. So in India we find few places where these oil deposits are there, and the highest one is, or the biggest one is in Assam, place called Digboi. There is a lot of oil deposit is found. Then also there is in Mumbai, there is a place called Bombay High, that is also a rich oil field. Then the deltas of Krishna and Godavari rivers. So in the side of the Godavari and Krishna, delta means the place where they almost reach to the sea. That place at the end part of the river, that's called delta. So Indian Krishna and Godavari river, in their deltas we find a lot of oil products. These are the oil stock existing in our country. So there's a little bit of general knowledge is there. You can see the word of origin, how the word petroleum originated. So the word petroleum is derived from Latin words petra meaning rock and oleum meaning oil. So petra means rock and oleum means oil. So it is coming from Latin words, two Latin words meaning. So petroleum means rock oil. So since the petroleum products or the crude oil is mined out from rock under the rock, they call it rock oil. So petra means rock, oil, oleum means oil. So rock oil. That is just general knowledge for you. Why this is called petroleum? Because it is coming from the rock. Oil coming from the rock. That is the meaning of petroleum. Then another type of power is natural gas. Natural gas. Another conventional source of energy is natural gas. CNG. We all use CNG or LPG at home. That is called natural gas. So there is also some information, general knowledge is there. Compressed natural gas. That is the full form of CNG. You can underline. What is the full form of CNG? Compressed natural gas. It is a popular eco-friendly automobile fuel as it causes less pollution than petroleum and diesel. So this CNG is mainly used for running vehicles and it is preferred more than petrol and diesel. People prefer to have this CNG. What is the reason? Because it is less polluting. If you use petrol and diesel, we know from the vehicle so much of smoke is coming out. That is polluting the atmosphere and sending a lot of carbon dioxide and other chemicals. But if you use this CNG gas for running vehicle, then the pollution will be less. There will be no smoke and so on. So everybody is converting now their vehicles from petrol into gas. They all prefer to use gas. Then natural gas is found with petroleum deposits and is released when crude oil is brought to the surface. So this gas also is coming together with the petroleum products. So when they bring the petroleum products, the crude oil from under the earth, from the rock, and when it reaches on top of the earth, this gas is released. So that will be separately collected and form this CNG gas, natural gas. And it can be used as a domestic and industrial fuel. Russia, Norway, UK and Netherlands are the major producers of natural gas. So this natural gas can be used as a for domestic purpose, for cooking food and so on, and also it can be used in the industry for running vehicles and running engines and so on. So the countries that are producing this CNG or this natural gas is Russia, Norway, UK and Netherlands. These are the countries that are producing this natural gas. In India, Jaisalmer, Krishna Godavari Delta, Tripura and some areas offshore in Mumbai have natural gas resources. So when we come to India, which are the places having this natural gas? We have in Mumbai offshore, then we have Jaisalmer, Krishna, Godavari Delta, we said where the petroleum is available, and Tripura. All these are the places where natural gases deposits we have. Then very few countries in the world have sufficient natural gas reserves for their own. So this natural gas reserve many people or many countries do not have. They are very poor in this deposit. The sharp increase in our consumption of fossil fuels has led to their depletion at an alarming rate.